All right, guys, in this video, we are going to be talking about a new meta in Frostborn, and that is switching weapons. There's a lot of, basically, once they added these 5 quick slots where you gotta get your quick slots, and generally you're gonna see, or really, you should always see bandages and a food item. And then you're gonna see dispels and usually some of the combination of potions, whether or not it's armor pot, berserk pot, healing pot, speed pot. You're going to see some combination of that, but you're pretty much always going to see, at least for like really serious players, you're going to see a healing bandage and a food item and a dispel. Those are the 3 items that pretty much always go in 3 of these 5 slots. But on these 2 slots up here, there's been a lot of room to kind of determine where to go on this. Like, where what's that? Oh, to experiment, yes. And one of the things that you might see is like what I'm doing right now, where we at first, before they nerfed the stun trap, you would always see hammer and stun trap, but that's no longer the case anymore. The stun trap is harder to use, so now you're starting to see different combinations. And some people do what I'm doing, where they do the stun hammer and the bola. If I'm running up against a melee character, I'm going to use the bola. If I'm running up against a, not always, but that's what I often do. And then if I'm running up against a long-range character, and I'm a long-range character, then I might do the stun hammer. It really depends. But people that are smarter than me are coming up with some different combinations. And one of the things that people are doing that is becoming pretty popular is to have more than one weapon. And so just in a previous episode, we talked about the Archmage using the poison staff and then switching over to the health staff so that he gets that poison damage on them, but then most of the time he's buffing his team. Let's say they have a fire mage or a sorcerer, getting that extra damage in for his team. There are tons of combinations that are being used now. They're just popping up everywhere. And so this episode, we're going to talk about all of those different combinations that people are doing. And I've got Toast in here who has experienced pretty much all of them. And so, Toast, you were mentioning one that you do where you do a fire bow and a poison bow to basically
as sharpshooter, yeah.
As sharpshooter to basically do 17 true damage a second.
So the way I'll do it is I'll have my poison bow equipped. And the reason I do that first is because I want to lay into them with the fire bow. When I come up to you, let's say I hammer you first, I will shoot you 1 time with the poison bow, and then for the rest of the fight, switch to the fire bow. So right off the bat, you're taking... Well, I'll do it if we re-engage as well. If we break up and then re-engage. Every time, you're taking 17 true damage, and I'm only wasting 1 shot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Another combination with Sharp, actually, I'll do is the opposite, where I'll run around with Firebow, and then instead, once all of my skills are done, I use my Slowing Shot, I use my Loki Shot, I don't have Hammer, I can switch to a Frostbow, so you can't run away.
Yes, and I've personally run into that.
That's more often on Hunter currently, though.
That makes sense because you got so much speed. You're basically just really maximizing the speed difference between you and them by slowing them with the Frostbow, which I've always said has been too powerful skill-wise. Not damage-wise, but skill-wise. It's just so ridiculous to have a ranged weapon. Like in League of Legends, if you had a ranged weapon that slowed someone, they would always nerf it to half of whatever the melee did. In Frostborn, they have a frost sword that is never used because it has a chance of slowing people, and so it doesn't even stick them. But they have a bow that is a guaranteed slow. It's so stupid, I'm mad that they haven't listened to me. That's one of the biggest changes I've asked them to do is just switch those two. Um,
So the meta originally started on Hunter, where people were very fast and now they can slow you with the bow. Um, and there's a problem with that is you're not doing much damage and you're already extremely quick. The more realistic thing, and people aren't doing it yet, and I'm sure people are going to start, is if you used poison bow and fire bow with Hunter, you're now doing way more damage, and they're not getting away from you anyway. You're already quicker than them.
well, just a little bit, and
A
no,
lot of
I agree. Yeah, you're right. Totally.
because you
I
get insta boots, you get warrior elixir as Hunter,
got it. Yep.
and already the base 15% faster.
The warrior elixir in there. Yeah. No, it's true.
So Frostbow is just kind of being repetitive at that point, and Jay actually brought up that point that it's basically just doing the same thing. But if you use Poison Bow, you're now doing that 17 a tick. And the problem with Hunter is you can't do much damage.
Yeah. Which, if you're doing true damage, doesn't matter.
Right.
And you can control the environment. I forgot about using a melee potion, a melee elixir, because it gives you that plus 10% movement speed,
yep.
even though you're a
Medium class.
even though you're not a warrior class, it'll still give
Right.
you the movement speed, not the damage. Okay, great. So that's two combinations, two bow combinations, and I've definitely experienced the frost bow and fire bow combination, which is really frustrating because, I mean, you say, it is a little bit over, like it is a little bit like, oh man, this is stupid in the sense that you already have that extra damage, that extra speed, but at the same time, it really makes it.
It's
So-
min-maxing. Basically, now you have zero chance of running from me.
Yeah, well, as a melee character, which is the first time I ran into you when I was a melee character, it was infuriating. I mean, it was just.
Oh, I can imagine.
I mean, I was just so slow, and so it's like I can't run away. I can't even get to you because you're so fast, and I'm so
You
slow.
tried turning back, I just run away.
And my only chance was to get a perfect combo of pull and dispel, and I didn't. So it was just infuriating.
See, that part of the fight just comes with experience because I knew you were duelist. I knew you were gonna pull. That's how I dodged it.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
And even if I had hit you with I'm not gonna kill you in one pull.
I dispel, yeah.
So, yeah. But then I played you as an illusionist, and I did now I don't know if you were using that bow combination at that time, but I was able to do a lot better because I had that extra dispel, and I had
It's
my
harder with a
clones
long range class, yeah, because they can just turn back and start hitting you back.
Yeah. So so yeah, okay. Well, but what are some of these other combinations you were talking about? You and I talked about the poison staff with the hell staff, which we kind of made up for the archmage because the archmage hasn't really played a whole lot in the last episode. But what are some other ones?
So currently you'll see a lot of people running around Thrasher with just a shield, and it's very effective because you still do pretty decent damage.
Mainly
especially
with Freya's
with this
shield, right?
Yeah, especially with this new shield, yes. But a meta that you've been seeing recently is they won't just have shield, they'll also have, for example, a thorax or a dragon sword, something that does high damage.
Yep.
To where, let's say you hammer me, during a stun, I can still switch to my shield. So you hammer me, lay into me, I'm switching to my shield so I don't take much damage.
Wait, hold on. You can switch weapons while you're stunned?
Yes.
Why?
Who knows?
That is so dumb. I didn't even try it because I thought that would be dumb.
But yeah, you can. So you hammer me, lay into me, I switch to my shield, take barely any damage. I hammer you back, switch to my good weapon, and just melt you.
What the heck? I'm so frustrated right now. Why would they allow that? I mean, now that I know that, that is so good. I'm definitely going to start using it, especially as a duelist. That's really
It's,
useful.
you could do it cheap, just bring a Nord shield. You don't need to bring a great shield, it's just for the
Totally.
armor.
No, the armor and the blocking.
Yeah.
Because, when I run into a mage, like an illusionist, to be able to have that extra block,
And it's not a lot like on a protector, but it's definitely still there.
it's something. It's something to make a difference. And often, the best fights are, you're just talking about any a 10 hit points is going to make a difference.
Oh, very, very much so, yes.
So, wow, that is so dumb, but also perfect for this episode because we're talking about switching weapons, and it shows
Seeing the
how
ingenious of things like that people come up with, like the assassin strat that's going around.
what is this?
So the whole point of an assassin is, you hammer them, you go up sneak attack, you hit them once, and then you shadow step. You blow your whole load all in one, and then you're just a moving target, right? What people are doing now is after everything's done, like they've shadow strike, they have no hammer, and you're now a one shot running away healing up. They have no skills left, so it doesn't matter if they're not if they don't have a dagger out anymore. They'll pull out a frost bow to slow you down so they can walk up and get that last hit on you.
Are you serious? There's
Yeah.
daggers. There's assassins coming out with crossbows.
I've had it happen like 4 times now.
That is hilarious.
Another reason they do it is because a lot of people are getting taunt reflected as a protector, and if you see one charge at you, you simply switch to your bow. You're not going to do anything.
Wow, that's so brilliant. People are so brilliant.
It's such a good idea.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The thing about the shield and the weapon or the 2 bows is you're keeping your skills. In this scenario, you don't need your skills anymore. They're already done.
Oh my gosh. I love how brilliant people are. You're totally right. Okay, and the fact that you can switch to them. So you were also mentioning how an assassin will get scared of you as a protector, and they'll have a rusty dagger that they can switch to.
Yes, that happened to me exactly in a zone. There was this, he's the teamer, and he kept stream sniping me when I was trying to stream. I hate the guy. Anyway, so I go in there, and I taunt reflect him. I start laughing, and the voice chat's laughing. It's funny. And somebody joins voice chat, and they're like, "Yo, Toast, were you just in zone with that guy?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Did you taunt him?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like he's sitting in a bush right now with full dragon set, legendary weapon, boss helmet, with a rusty dagger on his quick slot, just waiting for me. He waited in that zone for like 30 minutes for me to come back.
Did you come back?
No, because it makes them mad.
That is hilarious. So basically, now can you switch weapons during a taunt?
No.
Okay.
You can't do anything during a taunt.
Okay,
The thing is if they see you coming at them with a shield, they'll switch to the dagger just in case.
Got it. Okay, no, that makes sense. And okay, yeah, the taunt is so powerful, and I'm glad you can't switch weapons in the middle of it. But it's crazy that you can switch weapons during the middle of a stun. But that's not as powerful as being able to switch weapons during a taunt. So I'm glad they changed. I'm glad they didn't make that possible. So.
Right. Well, you'd be seeing teams do it all the time.
Yeah.
If you could.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad that that's possible. Okay. Well, okay. What other combinations? So let's look at these other classes. So we've talked about the melee classes, both all the melee like Thrasher and Duelist and Protector, and how they might switch.
We were spitballing an idea of how to make the Druid good again.
That's quite the challenge.
And And so the druid, the thing about a druid is its armor is unbelievable. It's so hard to kill a druid. He's got the 2 dispels, healing
Yeah.
elixir on him. He's so hard to kill. We were thinking, what
And
if you put
his crow flock is a true dispel. Like even if you're
right,
stunned, you can still use it, right?
right? Actually, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, so it's just a team dispel, but you can't. That's what I remembered is that you can't use it for yourself.
If you're already stunned, no. But if I hit the druid crow right before you stun me, yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, I'm tracking with you.
Um,
And you can also dispel for your teammates.
yes. But we're talking about solo, how to make it good for solo, specifically raiding.
Okay.
We were thinking if you put the Freya shield on as your main weapon, you'd be unbelievably tanky. You'd be even more difficult to kill. Healing.
But you wouldn't have a taunt, so people would just ignore you.
But yeah, but here's the thing: that's for when they're attacking you. But then you turn around, both of them switch to the combat staff.
Okay.
You'd actually be doing a lot of damage, or not a lot, but decent damage.
Uh-huh.
The only problem with that is you're wearing so much gear, it's not even funny.
Yeah,
You're wearing 2 Freyas, a boss helmet, probably a good set. Like, it'd be so expensive to run.
But would it work?
I think so. The only problem is it still wouldn't be crazy damage. You'd get the bleed damage, and you'd get the Bolo plus Freya combat staff. You'd do a decent damage, but you'd still risk them just zoning out. And that's the problem with Druid is nobody can kill you, but you can't kill nobody.
Got it. So now why don't you have a... Oh, so here's just a curiosity. Why don't you do 3 weapons and do a Frostbow, Freya's staff, and Freya's shield?
You wouldn't have a stun.
I know, but can people kill you even if you don't have a stun? The issue is not you getting a kill. The issue is not them killing you,
Them
right?
killing you, yeah, right.
The issue is you getting a kill, so you'd be able to continually slow them down, keeping them from zoning out.
I mean, hypothetically, yeah, I assume it could work.
So that's a 3-weapon combo, but it's unconfirmed. This is just us theorizing.
It's just spitballing, yeah. Even then, we don't know if you'd even do enough damage to make it worth doing.
Yeah, which is the problem with the Druid is just not doing enough damage. So, okay, interesting. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the others. So we talked about bows, we talked about melee. There's no combination.
I've been looking into combat staffs, but there's no real good choice for it.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're an Archmage, which doesn't have enough damage, you could switch between like a poison staff and a damage staff, but you already be giving up so much damage it's not worth it.
Right. The only other combo that I know is super popular. I mean, there's other ones that are out there randomly. People are testing things all the time. But the only other one I know is just basically any class bringing a shield.
Yeah.
And that's happening a lot too.
Because the Freya shield's so powerful.
Yeah. You don't even technically have to have it in your quick slot. If you're good, like people that used to stun trap a lot, they're good in their inventory. They can just switch to it really quick.
Yeah.
Another thing, stun trapping is not fixed. It's just slightly difficult.
Well, it is more difficult, which is making it. Personally, I have not been I've not been caught by any stun traps.
For now, people don't know how.
But even when I play against someone like Jay, he's not able to stun trap me.
Yeah, he is. He stun traps all the time.
Oh,
to the point I'm starting to stun trap.
Oh, well, I guess I just haven't run into it yet.
The thing is you don't stun trap on anything other than a hammer now. But yeah, if I'm up close, I can hammer you and stun trap very easily.
Well, I guess that's I've been playing a lot of Illusionist lately, and
you don't even have to time it anymore.
What do you mean you don't have to time it?
Because it'll just sit under your feet now until you
He
So,
doesn't immediately go off and say immune?
no.
What? That's huge. I didn't know that.
To where, well, the thing is, the only thing now, if
That'll
you're
make it
taking
easier
damage,
for me.
if you're taking damage, if you're taking like firebow damage, or a mob hits you, anything like that'll cancel it.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say I hammer you and there's nobody around, I'm just gonna walk up and place a stun trap on top of you. It's that easy. I don't have to time it. I just put it down.
Got it. So the reason I haven't been running into that is because I'm an illusionist, and I
Yeah,
can
you
just
can't. No, you
I
can't do
can
that.
dispel. I could just jump out of it, and so that it's not worth it for them.
Yeah, so to where if let's say I stun trap all the time, if I see an illusionist, I'm not even gonna try. It's not.
Got it.
It's waste my time to try.
So if I start playing my
Another thing.
duelist again, I'll probably start
Oh,
seeing it.
duelist is the easiest to use stun traps on because let's say you pull me into you pull me and arena, right? You start laying that stun trap. I run away. Anywhere in that arena, if I hit any of those guys surrounding, I get bounced right back to the middle where your stun trap's sitting.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about using the stun trap. I'm just talking about people using it on me. But yes, you're right. I did not know that. So the whole reason I don't stun trap people is because getting the timing down of putting down the trap and it not going too fast to where it says you just stunned them, but they're immune. That is so infuriating. I just stopped trying
It
because
doesn't matter anymore.
and I didn't know that that didn't matter anymore. And now that I know that that doesn't matter, I could. It might actually be easier for me to stun trap people than it was.
See, here's the thing. You pull. Let's say you hammer someone, pull them. Immediately put that stun trap down, because one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to try running away after the pull, get bounced back, hit your trap, or they're going to dispel on the spot. Now they don't have a dispel.
Yeah.
And if they hit that trap, they're basically guaranteed dead because you have your arena.
Now
You're
my
just gonna
pull's
melt
3
them.
seconds. Like, why don't I just pull them and then hit my throw down my trap right away?
You can.
And then if they dispel, it won't work. But I haven't wasted my arena. I can use it later. Because sometimes I use the arena as a defensive thing. If
I don't really play duelist, but I imagine people they might. I've heard people talking about this. I don't play this strategy.
yeah, you're in
But
on
I
the
imagine
know.
they're probably baiting dispels first. That's probably what they're doing.
Yeah.
Or they'll hammer, pull, do everything except for arena. Because I know when I fight a duelist, the only thing I fear is that arena. The moment you lay your arena, I won't dispel anything until you lay that arena. Then I dispel.
Got it. That makes sense.
So
That's smart. Because I love my arena. And I'll fight you in my arena any day.
right, exactly. If you can get them in your arena, they're dead.
So, yeah. No, that's great. Well, I learned so much for this episode. And I'm going to start stun trapping people. Because that's amazing. I feel bad, but at least stun trap is harder. Like, if you're a ranged character, there's a good chance that, or like an illusionist especially, I just don't get it. I'd never get stun trapped as an
Yes,
illusionist.
with 2 dispels, you can't stun trap. I mean, even before in the meta, that was a stun trap. All it would do is bait a dispel on an illusionist.
I would still get stun trapped as an illusionist in the old beta, but they had to bait all my dispels, but
Right.
it was still possible just because of
the
how
only
easy
reason
it was.
the only reason you're not getting stun trap now is because people are like, oh, it's fixed. So they're not even trying. They're not even trying to stun. They don't know you can stun lock right now.
Oh wow, interesting.
But I mean, honestly, I like the dual weapon meta way more than the stun trap. It makes the fight more interesting. There's ingenuity instead of just laying down a trap at your feet. Like,
I mean,
I always made the joke, like the thing is like you're like throwing a stun trap at somebody. It's a trap. You never Like you never watch like uh, uh, an Aztec run up and throw a pit of snakes at Indiana Jones. That's not how a trap works.
Totally. No, I agree. And here's the thing: even if people can still stun trap, they are still losing out on a second of DPS, and that is still meaningful because
Honestly,
there
not
were
really.
people. It is meaningful. There are people that used to stun trap me, and they would just maximize every second, and it was just so infuriating to play with them because I could tell they've lived and breathed this game, and they would just be like, they would just be doing damage. It was just like clockwork. Whereas now they're spending an extra second. That gives me 60 DPS or per second. So 60 damage minus armor that I have an advantage. And it just makes stun trapping just that much less powerful. It's still powerful, but that is, you take 70% of that, it's 20. It's still 20 hit points that you're giving me. That's still meaningful.
I mean, not really. Think about it like this: you hammer somebody, you're basically turning your 2-second stun into a 3.5-second stun, and the trap does more damage now. I've killed 3 different people on a sliver of health because they ran into my trap, like a pre-played trap behind a tree.
This is one of those things where it's like the numbers.
It does 30 damage.
The numbers are there, but the experience so this may just be my experience. I'm curious about you guys' experience. Put it in a comment. But my experience is that even the people that are stun trapping, I am having more success against them than I ever had before the update. Curious y'all's opinion. Toast is saying he's still just crushing people with stun trapping. Jay's saying that he's doing it. I'm just finding that I'm not dying. Now, part of it might be what Toast is saying about less people are trying, but even the ones that are trying, I'm finding more success, more ability to get away from them, more ability to, they didn't quite finish me off in the stun trap.
Right.
And so I'm curious y'all's opinion. Put it in a comment. Any other weapon combinations? I'm trying to look at the different classes. We've covered pretty much all of them.
Just one thing real quick. It's just, it goes back to the Rune video, what we were saying about any change is the good change. I wholeheartedly am very happy with what they did with stun traps. Don't get me wrong.
Got it.
I'm very, very glad with what they did. I was just saying it's still possible and viable.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, last one is, so I've heard of people using multiple flasks to either slow someone or like create multiple types of stacks on people. Is that a thing?
So it's viable, but in my opinion, that's more PvE than PvP, because at that point you might as well just go Thor Flask.
Got it.
There is one other combination I know of. Protectors will go Taunt Reflect switch to Kirga.
Interesting. Okay.
So then you after the Taunt Reflect, well, during the Taunt Reflect, you now, if you don't have a shield on, you're taking more damage. Okay. And because you have the Kirga, they're slowed after the taunt, and they're taking true damage.
Got it. No, that's brilliant. That makes total sense. So, yeah, the Kirga is a stick. It sticks to people. The Kirga I love. I don't like the Frostbow because it's stupid to give a ranged weapon such sticking power. That doesn't make sense. But a small ranged weapon like a Kirga's Flask, I'm cool with that. And why the heck have they not buffed the Ice Fang? That Ice Fang should be slowing people twice as much as the Frostbow. It is a melee weapon.
I would use it. If it was 100% chance, I would use it.
It's 100%. It needs to be 100% chance and a 50% slow or something crazy. Like, it is a melee weapon. Please. For all that is good.
And that's one thing, is everyone's always, I mean, stun trapping aside, let's completely put that aside. Everyone's always saying how duelist and thrasher and assassin, they're way too overpowered compared to a ranged class. That's the thing. You're a ranged class. You can keep your distance. I can't. To do damage to you, I literally have to be in
Yep.
your face. And
Preach it.
yeah, there's skills to close the distance, but you have skills to create distance. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like a Loki shot. You don't on sharpshooter. You don't have to run into them. Like you just stand back and do damage.
Totally.
And Ebola will completely mess any short range day up.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're in real life and you go down into a tomb and where you can't get out quickly, and there is a guy with a giant sword and you've got a bow, you are going to die. And you can just live with that. This is what's going to happen. And so get over the power of a melee weapon if you're in close quarters. Your whole point, if you're a ranged weapon, is to keep your distance, and that is your advantage. There's lots of ways to do that. You can use mobs, you can use teammates, you can use all kinds of things. But if you're gonna fight me in my arena, I sure as heck better beat you because you're fighting me in my arena. All right, guys. See you next time.